Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here doing my comic reviews for the week of December 14th, 2011. Alright, time to kick things off with... This should be shorter than usual because I only have 3 comics, but alright, kick it off. My only Marvel for this week, Avengers Academy number 23. And I just now realized this, but this is issue 23, and X23 has officially joined the team. Funny how the number and the thing works out. Anyways, what happens is X23 joins Avengers Academy, and also Stryker later speaks to Lightspeed from Power Pack in private, and he pretty much comes out to her and reveals that he's gay. So apparently Stryker is gay. That's interesting. And also, Future Reptile was listening on the whole thing, because remember, Reptile isn't really Reptile. His future self actually figured out some way to switch minds with his past self so he could sort of influence the past to make sure that the future he's from is the main future. Am I confusing anyone? Because it's time travel. It gives you a headache after a while. Anyways, Reptile pretty much listens on the whole conversation because Stryker asked him to. And then later throughout the rest of the issue, for Reptile's perspective, he's just feeling really guilty about this stuff. Because on one hand, he does feel like he can make things better by by altering the past and changing the future, because he knows what's coming. But he doesn't want to, because he still remembers that this is his mission to make sure that the future does happen and stuff. And okay, anyways, then later, the faculty of Avengers Academy, which is Giant Man, Quicksilver, Tiger, and Hawkeye, get called to San Francisco to help when they hear the news that some mutant kid is being attacked by this anti-mutant group called the Purifiers, and Reptile volunteers to come with them. They get the kid out and bring him back to the Academy, and when they ask him if he wants to join the X-Men, he says no, he wants to stay here. And they agree, and Reptile agrees to show him around. And then we find out that this kid really isn't a mutant at all. He's some sort of monster alien thing called a hybrid. Wait, I wrote it down so I won't forget. A hybrid. Yeah, that's what it's called. And then then Reptile says that he knows what he really is, and it's a monster. He says he can feed. And Reptile says he'll promise to keep this a secret, and he can feed on anyone he wants at the school, except certain students that he wants kept alive. And he'll give him a list, and then the issue's final scene is cuts to the future, where apparently it's revealed that Finesse and Reptile have a child together. Although Finesse has trouble remembering the child, because I believe this was something Taskmaster told her about when she met him like 12 issues ago. Taskmaster said that their powers are similar and that they both remember everything they read or do and stuff. But the thing is, with Taskmaster now, he's having trouble with the short-term memory and stuff. Like, he could probably only remember stuff that happens in the last week or so. But skills and I guess how to do stuff, that's mainly maintained. And I guess it's happening to future Finesse, because she barely recognized her daughter and stuff. And actually their daughter does point out that, asks why her father's kept in a cage, even though that this is really adult present day Reptile's mind in his adult self's body. So yeah, okay, what have we learned? Stryker came out, X23 joins the team, and apparently Reptile and Finesse have a daughter together in the future. Overall, I'd say that Avengers Academy is still a pretty great series. For all you fans of X23 who are disappointed that her series is getting canceled, I think soon, you may want to pick up Avengers Academy if you don't want to. If she's your favorite character and you don't want to lose touch with her or something, then I would definitely recommend Avengers Academy, because it's still a good book, not just because of X23 now, I guess, but just because I've enjoyed it since the very beginning, and I think other people will too. And maybe having X23 is just the kind of good jump-on point they need for most people to sort of start picking this up now. Okay, moving on to DC. Green Lantern number 4. Last issue, it looked like Hal Jordan was getting killed when he went to the central power battery of the Sinestro Corps. Well, you're wrong. Hal's alive. But he's really weakened after the attack, and Sinestro was pretty much meleeed by a bunch of Yellow Lanterns. I'm calling them Yellow Lanterns now because Sinestro betrayed his own Corps, so it really just seems empty calling them the Sinestro Corps. Anyways, the Yellow Lanterns throw Hal into a prison, and he tries to break out, but he can't. And when he only has enough energy for one construct, he pretty much makes a sort of lantern image of Carol Ferris, and he apologizes to her. I mean, he doesn't actually apologize to Carol. It just seems more like something he should have said to her and stuff. And also, Sinestro is pretty much taken to a lab where the Yellow Lanterns are trying to get the ring off by pretty much torturing him, and they did make a comment that they might have to cut off his hand in order to get the ring off because they think that Sinestro is being influenced by the Guardians. Anyways, when they can't get the ring off, they just throw Sinestro into another cell with a bunch of citizens they've arrested from Korugar, and all the citizens of Korugar are mad at Sinestro, saying that he's pretty much evil and he's caused nothing but trouble to their planet ever since he became a Green Lantern and took over and stuff. And then Hal gets an idea that, well, actually before that, Sinestro does apologize to the Kagarians, but they still refuse to accept it. He says he wants to help, and then Hal gets an idea that, wait, Sinestro, you made a duplicate ring. Why not make hundreds of the rings? Then all the Korugarians can fight back. And Sinestro thinks that's a good idea, and he creates the hundreds of rings, but the consequence is that the rings might not last more than 5 to 10 minutes. And when all the Korugarians get their rings, they immediately turn them on Sinestro. And that's where the issue ends. So Sinestro's plan does work, except for the fact that all the Korugarians want to kill him now. Because now they have the power to do so. Okay, Green Lantern. It's weird seeing Sinestro as a Green Lantern. But still, this is a very interesting ending now, because even though Sinestro apologizes, and he gives them, the Korugarians, a power to sort of fight back at the Yellow Lanterns, they still want to have Sinestro's head. So, it really raises the question, can Sinestro be redeemed? Huh? That's something you should ask yourself. I still say that this is a good series. I mean, Jeff Johns does offer stories that are more slow-paced, but in the end they usually pay off. Though once you get to the ending, they usually pay off. So, let's see what happens next if Sinestro can actually lead his people to take back Korugar or not. Alright, now for my last comic. Superboy, number 4. Alright, well, picking up from last issue, Superboy got into a fight with Dr. Caitlin Fairchild, and she revealed that she has super strength, but within a few pages of the issue, Superboy is able to knock her out with his tactile telekinesis, and once he does so, a nowhere agent by the name of Central Hall shows up, and he with some other henchmen, and he has them arrest Caitlin because they believe she was part of she was in league with some bioterrorists that were infiltrating Nowhere. And then Senator Hall pretty much talks to Superboy and says that he did a good thing by letting them know that Caitlin could have betrayed them, and he offers to sort of shows Superboy where he was created. So he takes Superboy to the lab where Superboy was created, and he explains that while they did create him here, they have no idea about where his human DNA came from. They say that the Kryptonian list was limited, but come on, we all know he means Superman. But the list of human DNA, though, was apparently grafted by several teams. But Superboy's entire DNA was mapped out by different teams, so no one's entirely sure about where Superboy's human DNA came from. And then Senator Hall pretty much makes a deal that if Superboy stays with Nowhere, and tracks down Wonder Girl for them, then they'll help him figure out who his human donor is. And Superboy asks if he could have some time to think of it, and this is the weird thing. Senator Hall basically says, "Yeah, sure, take some time off, think about it." I mean, that just seems a little weird coming from an organization that wants to... That's apparently the bad guys, but whatever. Anyways, the next week, Superboy's in New York City trying to figure... I guess, doing some soul searching. He's asking himself what's his... questions like, what's his place in the world, whether or not he really can be considered a person if he's just a clone, and also what should he do now with his powers and stuff. But while he's thinking this, these two young metahumans that actually appeared in the first pages of the last Superboy issue are causing trouble, and they nearly throw a guy out a window, and then Superboy notices, and he goes and saves the guy, and this is still weird because when he sees the guy falling, he thinks, this isn't really my problem, but I feel compelled to help. So Superboy saves the guy, then he fights the two metahumans here, and he thinks to himself during the fight, wait, this is actually worth a challenge and stuff. I mean, now Superboy's just starting to really see that he has these powers and he can use them to stop people who are causing trouble, and also that it's sort of a challenge to him because it's sort of a challenge to him too that there are some metahumans who can give him a run for his money, so to speak. But Superboy's able to take them both down. Then he calls Nowhere and asks them to, if they can pick him up and stuff, and they agree. Then Superboy says that, I've actually using my powers to stop people who've caused trouble feels good, and I'm willing to work for you guys to help this out. So Superboy agrees, says that he'll take Senator Hall's offer and he'll go after Wonder Girl in exchange for figuring out who his human half is. Okay, so good points about Superboy now. He realizes that he can use his powers to help people. Bad news is now he's misinformed, so he's going to go after the good guys. Yeah. Well, at least he's finally starting to take some responsibility. I'll give Superboy that. At least now he's finally realizing that, he has powers, he can use them to help people, even though he's still kind of wondering why, though. Superboy is really starting to just, figure things out, and, he just woke up, in issue 1 of this, and it seems like Superboy still needs to really figure out where he belongs in the world, and I think once he meets the Teen Titans, because this almost leads directly into Teen Titans number 4, because the teaser was that the next issue, Superboy number 5, will take place right before his fight with Wonder Girl, but the actual fight will happen in this month's Teen Titans, which I think is coming out in 2 weeks. Again, Superboy, well, now he's starting to act more like a good guy. He's starting to, realize with great power comes great responsibility. But he's still misinformed, and he thinks that the Titans are the bad guys and that Nowhere are still the good guys, even though the audience knows that Nowhere are the bad guys. But maybe once he meets the Titans, he'll get more informed about it and just realize that Nowhere's wrong and start to fight back against them. Okay, so in conclusion, Superboy number 4, still great. The character's finally realizing he can use his powers to help people. However, he's misinformed and thinks that the Titans are the bad guys. Green Lantern number 4 raises the question: can Sinestro be redeemed? As even though he tries to help his people, they still want to kill him. And Avengers Academy X-23 number 23, still a great book. The time travel thing with Reptile does seem a little confusing, but still some great stuff going on here with X-23 joining the team and Stryker coming out. Yeah. So that's my comic reviews for this week. Stay tuned for more videos coming out soon. Happy holidays, everyone.